Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Mr. Zelda. Tough loss for Washington. Kind of self-inflicted in this one. Phoenix beat Washington OT 99-90. Um, Ray, you know, you were here watching. Give me your thoughts. I know we were talking about before we hit the button, but your thoughts on this one, and Cardell, want to get your thoughts on it.
Yeah, like you said, man, self-inflicted. 18 turnovers and 12 missed free throws. That's pretty much a ball game, man. You know, um, they they got to figure out these these sloppy games where they have poor offense. It's just not flowing. It doesn't look good. It's just it happens way too often. And they're too good of a team for to have these types of showings, semi regularly. Some games, you just chalk it up, but it's becoming a bit of a pattern, and it's a little concerning. But I know Elena was a late scratch, but just her not being there shouldn't result in this type of this type of jumbled up game offensively. They got to make better decisions. Ariel had an off night, and again going back to the free throw line, like that's you can't win like that. They controlled the glass. They had 14 offensive rebounds. Out rebounded the Mercury by 12, but yeah, it was just too much to overcome. They didn't shoot the ball well at all from anywhere, um, and really they only played one quarter of stifling defense. That was the second quarter. For the rest of the game, and the Mercury, shot the ball pretty well and pretty much got what they wanted for the most part. But yeah, this is a tough one, man, because despite everything that didn't go their way, it was still winnable. But some bad plays down the stretch led to their demise. Then came on to overtime and laid an egg, got outscored 14-5. You can't go away like that at home. You can't do that regardless, but it hurts double worse in front of the hometown fans. So they got to figure this thing out, man. They after since the hot start, they've been an up and down team. So they got to go back to the drawing board and figure out some consistency and and see where they can go from here.
Cardell?
Yeah, for me, it's just a lack of execution and attention to detail, especially late in the game, man. It's to the point now. I know Maisha put up good numbers, but when the ball is in her hands, I'm honestly kind of worried, like shook, because you don't know what she might do. Uh, 6 turnovers is ridiculous for any player. But some of her turnovers, it's like, yo, what do you? She's throwing it like right to the defender when they're denying, like right there. It's almost like she's scared to have the ball at times in certain spots. And Phoenix saw that. You saw late in the fourth quarter, they threw a 2-3 zone at them because they weren't hitting 3 pointers. And to beat a zone, you have to make good sound decisions and move the ball. Those are the biggest issues that the Mystics have been having since their hot start. That's why they've been up and down. Elena, she cures a lot of those ills because she can make tough shots and she makes sound decisions and she's such an efficient player. So she bails them out a lot. But when she's not there, that's when you really see it. They're a totally different team. And that's what we saw tonight. In the overtime, the Mystics were held to 2 of 8 shooting and turned the ball over 3 times in 5 minutes. That's the game. With Tarazi fouled out. You know what I mean? Like you just it's like it's just mental lapses at the wrong time, just rushing, overpassing, stuff that you're not used to. It's just sloppy basketball at times, and this is not what we've become accustomed to seeing from them. Especially going back to when they were competing for championships, going to the finals every year. That's not normal. They're beating themselves. They shouldn't lose to the Mercury with no grinder. It shouldn't happen. You know what I mean? And look, Atkins, man, this is her worst game of the season. 1 for 8 for 3. Why are you selling for so many threes? Just because it's there don't mean you gotta take the shots. You bailing out the defense. And no disrespect, who you got on you? You either gonna have Tarazi or Skylar. You bigger than Skylar, and Tarazi up there. You know what I'm saying? She ain't trying to run around with you. Take her off the bounce and make her work. You know what I'm saying? Wear them out. And they didn't do that, man. Then on the other side, Skylar got her way, Tarazi got it going, so they just thoroughly outplayed them. Even Cloud. She up there in assists in the league, but she never turns it over. And tonight she had 5 turnovers to 7 assists. That pretty much canceled that out. And then on top of your shooting woes and what Skylar was doing, I mean, that's game right there. From the backcourt production to the turnovers that Maisha Allen had, you can't overcome that, especially with Atlanta being out, man, at home, man. So this is very uncharacteristic. They gotta figure some things out, man. Like, it's getting to that point where it's like, all right, man, I know they 9-6 or whatnot, but you can't go off that because it's another few days, it's another few games this week, right? So if they keep just going with this mentality, we'll be all right, just kind of nonchalant about it, they can wake up and be 500 in a week. You know what I mean? Then it's serious. So they gotta come with a sense of urgency right now to change course, man, because right now this ain't it. And they got to figure out how to execute down the stretch in tight games without Deladon. They have to figure that out, man. And it's a reason why the 3-pointers are there and teams are allowing them to take it. And they got to figure out how to impose their will and get better shots, man, because this was definitely just head shaking tonight.
Yeah, that's a kind way to put it. Like right now, what you're talking about, it just at times it just didn't make sense with the decision makers, especially on offense. We saw them kind of, I think, late, right? They kept finding the mismatch, getting easy post. They kept pretty much on that. At times finding her in bad situations and getting productive possessions out of it. And both 6 and 3 got away from it, and then they got into that stagnant offense. It was one pass and a shot. And I don't care who you are, one pass and a shot's not good. And like you said, some of the shots they're giving you, whether it's good defensive teams or bad defensive teams, if there's something in common between a good defensive team and a bad defensive team, in terms of the shots that they're giving you, at some point you gotta start thinking it a little bit better. And if you saw a couple times, when you execute the plays as called, they work pretty well. Like you said, the lack of execution is as you mentioned. And again, like I think midway through the third, next to Rain, I'm like, hey, look, the missing free throws. I think Washington was still up the missing free throws, but they had, because of the offensive rebound, they had 13 more shots than Phoenix. By the end of the night, I think their shot difference was like 4. So like you're just checking boxes in ways that you found like at different points we had somewhat of an advantage that you lost in the game. And again, like you housed them on the glass for most of the game, they got nothing to show for it. Down the stretch, it was like back-to-back possessions where I think Maisha and then Cloud, they got called for travel. Who killed like back-to-back possessions down the stretch of the game. Luckily, you get in the regulation. The end regulation, you're tied, but those are opportunities to end the game. Like you mentioned, Skylar got off. You keep a team like that around for too long, like you're gonna get whatever you deserve. Those are head scratchers off, and they have to figure out, the nights without Belladonna. They need, like you said, they need to be higher sense of urgency because what is this? This is the 15th game of the season. Almost halfway through. We're approaching that point. Right? As always, player the game X factor, and we had a couple comments. You want to mute, right? Go ahead, Cardell. Player of the game, and then we'll get right in a second.
Skylar Diggins-Smith, as simple as that, 27. She won the game in overtime. She made the plays. She had a big layup late. She had some tough jumpers late in overtime. 5 assists, 3 steals, 4 rebounds. She did it all. 8 of 17, 9 of 11. She closed the game. She carried them throughout most of the game, and her defense, she kind of, she made Cloud had probably one of her worst games, if not her worst game of the season. So, she did it all to pull out a much needed win for them, on the road.
Right.
Yeah, man, Skylar for sure. Just the way she played down the stretch. made the big 4-point play at the end of regulation. And then when she did in overtime, it got to a certain point where she just decided she was going to take this game over, and she did. With Diamond fouling out and Tarasi fouling out, she just put the game in her hands and went to work.
Exactly.
Shady Patty. She loves seeing the message, dog. I don't know what it is about her, man. It's not just she hoops, man. She hits big shots every time they play against each other. Like, it's just like she waits till the end of the game, like, all right, I'm gonna show y'all what y'all miss. Y'all release me. It's like consistent, man. So yeah, man, she was X Factor. 12 points off the bench, 4 or 5 shooting, 2 or 3 from deep. 1 was a clutch 3, 3 assists, 3 steals, 2 turnovers, 27 minutes. Can't ask for much more from your reserve point guard.
Right.
Yeah, Shea Petty, man, she made some big defensive plays. It was a couple times where the Mystics was kind of looking to establish some dominance in this game. She come up with a big steal, a big deflection, get a stop, digging in down low and battling down there with the bigs. So yeah, then of course her shot making ability. But it goes back to the bubble, man. Like when she knocked them out the playoffs, that's been her MO ever since. So they gotta find a way to do something about that.
All right, we had 2 comments from Troy out here. How's that one putting those guards in the rim? Let's go. I love when bigs play big. That was late in the game, and then last one for me with the biggest Smith to Kyle Lowry. The offseason half of the flopping up. Let me stop. Appreciate the show.
Yeah, I mean, she was hooping, man. She her decision making, she got to calm down. Just slow down, dog. Like, slow down, make sound decisions. And yeah, Diggins Smith and Tarazi, I don't think they are any refereeing crew's favorites. They cry a whole lot. Like, God,
all game.
Obvious fouls. Like, dog, they on a Mutombo for real. Because I say Mutombo never committed a foul in his career. He argues that's them, man. It's just like, damn, dog. Like, yeah, you hit on the arm. It's a foul, dog. Like, chill. Not every call. It's ridiculous, man. But hey, they got the W, so it is what it is.
All right, so Washington, you get another chance at them on Tuesday night. Thank y'all for checking. Tune in. See y'all Tuesday. Steve Washington can rebound. Get the W.